Hey guys, so we're both here. If you just saw my other video on my thoughts on what Donald Trump has been saying the last few days, welcome to part 2. And if you haven't, just check out the other video for a recap on things up to now, because this will be part 2 where I left off in that conversation. In this video, I'm going to just talk and give a bit of my thoughts on the 2020 election so far, and to continue on with what I said a few times in the previous video, why I am now convinced beyond reasonable doubt that Donald Trump will be a one-term president. And I definitely want to preface that in repeating what I said in the other video, in saying that I am not a Democrat or a Republican. I'm not even an independent. I'm currently considered unenrolled. I left the Democratic Party in 2016, right before the election, the summer before the election, because I didn't like what I was seeing going on within the Democratic Party, as well as the fact that they were basically using the same tactics that the Republican Party was using to force Hillary as the Democratic nominee. One of the few things that Donald Trump said then, and has repeated now, that has been true, that corporate media has been ignoring, is the Democrats have been working tirelessly with corporate media to deny Bernie Sanders from having a fair chance in favor of Joe Biden, and it really is a shame. This is what happens when you have a lot of money in politics. The 2016 election proved that the White House can be bought. We already knew in advance that senators and representatives can be bought, but the 2016 election proved that even the White House can be bought. Because that's exactly what happened. Trump admitted that before he decided to actually run, that the main reason he would run as a Republican than as a Democrat is because he knew that he could fool enough people to vote for him as a Republican than as a Democrat, and he proved himself. He was proven right. Feel free to look that up if you don't believe me. He actually did say that. In terms of the candidates that I'm looking at right now, I'm going to split that into two groups. One is two candidates that I believe will win, are most likely to win the nomination next summer, as well as the two that I would be very most comfortable with winning the nomination. Well, the two that I'm pretty sure that are most likely to get the nomination, and obviously that the media is pushing for, are either Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. And as everyone already knows by now, Joe Biden was the former vice president under Barack Obama, and he's made it no secret that he plans to continue a lot of the policies that were liked under the Obama administration. And that's got a lot of people excited. And, a lot of people felt that he should have run in 2016. I'm pretty sure the fact that Hillary Clinton ran that year was the deciding factor in him stepping aside, just like Joe Biden running this year is more than likely the deciding factor in Hillary not running again this year. And, yeah. You scratch your back, you scratch your back, I scratch yours kind of a thing. So, yeah. Kamala Harris really proved herself as being able to go at anybody in recent debates, and has gotten her a lot of much needed attention, much needed public support, as well as support from the corporate media, which is going to need to unfortunately have any sort of shot at winning the White House next year. And she would be a pretty good match against Trump head on in debates. And more so with a lot of with the vitriol, with the latest bit of vitriol that Trump's been spewing. Yeah, it would be pretty interesting, and if anything, entertaining. But it would definitely be interesting. That'd be a pretty good match. I do feel like some could argue that, and this is in terms of the ones that are assuming to get the nomination, that a lot of these candidates are just there to help Biden look good. But I don't feel it that much with Harris in particular. And I'm going to segue that with the candidates that I believe that I would like to see get the nomination. The two that I would like to see combination, one of them is Bernie Sanders, obviously, and the other one is Kamala Harris. In my case, unfortunately, I ended up not being able to see the debates because I happened to be hospitalized at the time, and I wasn't in any position to really watch the debates because while I was in the hospital. And I'll save all that stuff for another video. Not for another video. I'll discuss that on one of my WordPress blogs. But anyway, I did read the transcript from the debates and saw a recording of it on YouTube, and I was very impressed with what I saw. And definitely I do feel that Harris and followed by Sanders second would be the two best people to go out to challenge Trump in the 2020 election. I mean, as everybody already knows, Bernie Sanders ran in 2016 for the Democratic election, and even though he's clearly an independent, I'm pretty sure that he knew deep down that his only chance at actually being noticed would be running as a Republican or Democrat, and since he obviously has more in common with the Democrats, he's running for the Democratic nomination. And yeah, many people do cite his age now as the biggest reason why. Many people cite his age first, as well as his being viewed as a democratic socialist, as the two biggest reasons why he doesn't have a real shot. But I feel like, at this point, anything's possible, and a lot of people, it's pretty hard. I covered this a lot with my blog back in 2016. How much attention that he was getting, and it's not over till it's over, as the saying goes. And since Sanders knows that he has another uphill battle ahead of him, competing against competing against just Joe Biden and now Kamala Harris, that he has to contend with as the three the top three candidates. This will be really interesting, and I do believe by next spring that Sanders, Harris, and Biden will all still be in the running for the Democratic nomination. And like I said at the end of my last video, the election is 15 months away, and no one is looking to waste any time. And I definitely do believe that by the end of this year, at least half of the current candidates will have dropped out of the election, because a lot of folks seeing and realizing with every week that passes and everything that Trump says and everything that the Republicans have been doing and pushing for and all that other stuff, etc., etc., the stakes are too high to allow partisan infighting within the party. I don't think we're going to see a repeat of what we saw in 2016, because they know that there's too much on the line to allow Trump to get a second term. And that's why I'm convinced beyond reasonable doubt that Trump will be a one-term president. There's just too much at stake here, and even those that feel that Trump didn't get a fair chance, and all that people do is talk trash about him and bash everything he says and blah 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 and all that other stuff. The fact of the matter is, every single promise that he made during the campaign, he has failed to make. And every promise that he has made before and after becoming president, he has broken or failed to keep in one way or the other. And that's why he's been getting it from that's also why he's been getting it from his own party. Trump and a lot of his rapidly shrinking supporters have no clue how many people do not want to see him get a second term from within his own party. Well, I shouldn't say his party, I should say within the Republican Party, aka the Grand Old Party. A lot of them just have no clue. And what I feel that a lot of people should be, what I feel that a lot of us should be worried about, regardless of who you support for the 2020 election, whether it's Trump or whoever else it may be, what a lot of people need to be worried about is what will happen should Trump not get reelected in 2020. I definitely do agree with a lot of folks that have been saying, and I'm pretty sure these rumblings are going to increase by this time next summer, what will happen if Trump doesn't get reelected? How will he react? Because he's already been saying since the term started that he wants a do-over of this presidency. That he didn't have a fair shot. He didn't have a good first 2 years, and that's why he should just be given more time. I'm like, what most of us need to be worried about are the exact people that the Republicans, Trump supporters, Trump himself, and even the media, fitness to a certain extent, are ignoring, and that is the white nationalists and many others who on social media and elsewhere have been saying with a straight face that God help whoever wins the 2020 election if it's not Trump. You have people that are promising the wrath of God if Trump doesn't get reelected, and no one is paying attention, and that should scare a lot of people. I'm pretty sure, well, obviously the FBI is paying attention, but that should concern everybody that there are white nationalists and militias all over the world that the FBI and Southern Poverty Law have been monitoring for 20, 30 plus years now, that the media isn't looking at, and that obviously that other folks aren't paying enough attention to. The real domestic terrorists, in a matter of speaking, lone wolves, etc., who are politically motivated by right-wing ideology, who have threatened and promised harm against elected officials in our government, sending death threats, and everyone's laughing it off as partisan rhetoric. That's the problem in this country that you don't see in other democratic countries. That kind of talk is tolerated, and it shouldn't be. Clearly, I mean, I hate to say it, but people are going to have to start dying, unfortunately. People in high places, unfortunately. I'm not wishing anything on anybody, but that's what usually has to happen in this country for any kind of change, meaningful change to happen. Folks are going to need to start dying, and I do think we are going to see that. We either leading up to this election or immediately after it, and it is a shame. And it's also why I said towards the end of my last video, I believe that I'm looking to leave the U.S. as soon as I'm able. There's too much foolishness going on. Life is short, and I made it to 35 when I wasn't supposed to, and I like to keep that streak going as long as possible. When you live in a country where what should be are two different things. Yeah. Reality is merciless, as the saying goes. But this coming election should be very interesting, and I would definitely urge folks to pay attention, regardless of who you vote for, regardless of whether you're an American citizen or not. You definitely should pay attention. And something that some people are pointing to as, the electoral college. I'm like, please, they would have abolished that back in 2020 after the Supreme Court gave Bush 43 the White House if they really wanted to get rid of the electoral college. Let's be real. The fact of the matter is, it's too beneficial to both parties for them to actually eliminate the electoral college entirely. That's why it's still in place. Yes, Hillary Clinton won the popular vote by 3 million, but it was, yeah. The more important thing, that is irrelevant. That's more irrelevant to the fact that 46% of registered voters stayed home during the 2016 election. The Democrats and the Republicans, I'm pretty sure to a lesser degree, severely underestimated how many people in this country didn't want Hillary Clinton as president, that they were willing to vote to help put Trump in the White House. That's an indisputable fact. Never mind the fact that the possibility of Russia and other countries having running interference. Never mind the fact that now hearing from CNN, Julian Assange may have played a huge role in helping to influence the 2016 election for Trump. And I'm going to talk about Julian Assange and Eric Snowden in a separate video again because I have some thoughts on those two idiots. But yeah. The next 15 months are going to be very interesting, and I would definitely urge everyone to pay very close attention, even if you don't like politics, American politics. It's messy as hell, needlessly, and frustrating as hell a lot of the time. But if you, I would say most definitely do your own research, and please, please, don't just go by what you see on the evening news or in the debates. Do your own research. Find out what all of these candidates, plus the president, and Congress people in some cases, find out what all of them stand. Find out where all of them stand on all the issues that matter to you. Please do your own research. Don't go by what you see on TV. I'm going to try to do my best starting next year. After the primaries, I've wrapped up to put the list together of what the two nominees believe stand on certain issues, so that folks can check my blog if someone else doesn't do it anyway, and see where the two nominees for the White House stand on a variety of issues, big and small, because it's too important these days for folks to be voting in ignorance and voting because they simply like or don't like a certain candidate. That needs to stop. We need to be voting for the person that's best fit, and that would be the best fit for the job. Like I said in the previous videos, both parties need to be disbanded sooner than later, but unfortunately, I'm pretty sure it'll happen much later and after the damage is irreparable. So, yeah. I didn't mean to make both of these videos all doom and gloom, but the past is a pretty good indication of the future, unfortunately. It is what it is. It's not a question of wishing bad things on either the current president or the country in general. It's just, instead of just talking about things becoming better, put your money where your mouth is, as the saying goes. Prove it. Because there's 30 million people, there's 300 million people in this, plus people in this country that have been promised things for the last 30 plus years, and promises have not been kept. And not just the president, but Congress and the Supreme Court all equally need to be reminded of who they're supposed to be working for, and not just the people that are paying them. And I definitely do feel, in general, that this country could use a full reset of not just the White House, but Congress. And there definitely should be term limits on Congress as well as on the Supreme Court. And I believe I touched on this in a recent video, but there definitely should be term limits on Congress people. They can only serve a certain number of consecutive terms, and then that's it. The Republicans forced term limits on the president in World War II, during World War II, ironically, because Franklin D. Roosevelt had just been elected to a third term, and it was like, this ain't fair. And even though Roosevelt, FDR died near the beginning of his third term, it's very interesting now that we have a sitting president that wants to eliminate term limits. Irony is something else, isn't it? But yeah, I think I've done enough rambling now, and I didn't mean to make this video as long as the one that I just recorded, but clearly I had a lot of things that I wanted to get to, and I definitely wanted to make sure that I took my time. And I think this was good. I think this is pretty good. I'm also obviously going to embed these videos on my political WordPress blog. Would likely put both of them into the same post, so that you can watch both of them back to back at the same time. But like I said a minute and a half ago, definitely do your own research on all these candidates, find out where they stand, and for the love of money, even if it's a write-in, vote in next year. Even though he wouldn't become the Democratic nominee, I did a write-in for the 2016 election. I didn't vote for Hillary, but I did vote in the 2016 election. I let everyone know that. there's a box under the candidates where if you don't want to check one of the other two boxes, just pick theirs. So make it happen. This is the end of this video, and I'll talk about something else in the next video I record. Everybody take care of yourselves, whether in the U.S. or elsewhere, and I'll see you in another video podcast.